So welcome everyone to our Read and Write meetup. So this is fairly informal. I will demonstrate to you some of the features of the toolbar, and you will be able to spend a little bit of time trying out those features. Okay, so my name's Lillian Joy, and I work in the central team looking after quite a few digital technologies, including the VLE and replay. And Texthelp Read and Write is one of those that I happen to help others to understand as well. Okay, so I just had this brainwave that apart from giving you a list of all these videos, I may turn this into a table that explains some other tools with similar features. Because if you don't always want to use Texthelp Read and Write, there are other tools to do some of the things that you might want to do. Okay, so I'm going to start by highlighting to you. Oh, I do have some slides as well, so let's bring those up. So I'm going to start by highlighting to you where you can get the Read and Write toolbar from. Okay. So, and then we're going to run through the actual toolbar. I know when I first opened up the toolbar, I kind of thought, where am I supposed to click? There's so much. So I'm going to break down the toolbar bit by bit to give you some confidence with the tools that are there. All right. So first off, we do have the original page for Read and Write. And hang on, I have given you the kind of lesson plan. And within the lesson plan, you've got the link there where to get Texthelp Read and Write. Okay. And that takes you to this page. And that training plan, again, is the lesson plan that I put in the chat. So hopefully most of you have already installed Read and Write on Chrome browser. And because that's the one that we're going to be using. Okay. I don't know if people can kind of confirm in the chat by clicking on the reaction thumbs up to kind of let me know if you have installed Chrome Read and Write. So let me just see about reactions. So for instance, I would do this. Can't see that anyone else is clicking on the thumbs up. But if you haven't installed the Chrome Read and Write, please install on Chrome browser. Okay. So I've typed it into the chat so that if anyone's following along on the recording, thanks for confirming. German and Tristan. Okay. So when you click and you install it, you will normally sign in with your university email address on Chrome. And once you do that, it will recognize that there's a license where you're allowed to use the full features. Okay. So I'm going to proceed now. And I will give you time again to catch up. So if you're still installing, if you want to kind of come back to the Zoom screen, and I will give you time to play with some of the toolbar features, and you could maybe continue installing it then. Okay, so how do we access the Texthelp Read and Write toolbar when we're in a document? So I'm going to use a demo document. Here's a Google document for me to demo with, and then I'll show you how you use it with PDFs and readings and websites. Okay, so I'm on a Google Doc, and when you have installed your Read and Write, you will simply see it as a puzzle piece in your toolbar. So here it is for me. It's purple. It says RW, it's really tiny. But all I have to do is select it, to kind of get the toolbar to turn on. So I'll click on it and the toolbar has appeared. Okay, so above the actual document itself. If I go to another website, then I may have to click on it again. Okay, so I'm just going to start by demonstrating the easiest one to work out, which is the play, pause, and stop part of the toolbar, which is these here. So wherever I click, I can just press play.
Texthelp Read&Write, PDF Reader and Equip.io demo. Here is a worksheet that can be...
And then I can pause and I can stop, right? So usually that will work okay for most people. And if it isn't working properly, it might just need permissions at the top for access to, you know, your microphone or to the audio settings on your computer. Okay. So those are that's the most simple toolbar. So I'm just going to pause for a minute while you fiddle around with that and have a play. So just 1 minute. I'll set a timer. I'll be quiet so you can do that. That's my way of getting a reminder not to spend more than a minute for you to play with that. Right, just 1 more second. Okay. So having done that, my next thing I'm going to show is just the first 4 items on the toolbar. So it's going to be prediction, hover speech, dictionary, and picture dictionary. You may have slightly different items on yours. It does depend on what features you've turned on, but most people will have these on. So I will demonstrate them. I'm not gonna do check it. Check it is like Google already does check some words for you with a squiggle line. So I'm just gonna go with like prediction, dictionary, and the picture dictionary. So what the prediction does is it helps you kind of like word prediction on your phone. If you're typing something, it can kind of start to suggest the words you need. So I'm going to suggest it could be argued, and I might struggle with argued isn't necessarily an easy word to spell sometimes, you know, the U and the E. When I'm typing fast, I could get it wrong. So look, it comes up on the screen, so I can just click it. It could be argued that, right? I could kind of go the papers, you know, the papers are focused. Now, focus is one of those words I struggle. I always put 2 S's. So I'm like, do I put 1 or 2? I'm just going to go with 1. And I think that should be all right. On now, theoretical. Let's say I want the word theoretical. Now, I know you kind of almost need to type a few things to work out if you can get the word that you need in there. So, you know, it's helpful. Sometimes it's difficult, but you can just start typing a few letters and the predictive text will help a little bit. So I can turn the prediction on or off. If I go to the dictionary and I select a word, so let's say I'm reading a paragraph, it will, so long as I click on a word, it will give me the dictionary definition. So if I want to know the word academic, it will start to explain it. It will also play it back.
Adjective. To do with schools, universities or colleges. The new academic year begins in September.
That's quite impressive that it knows our academic year and not an American one or something from other places. So opportunity, again, the word just, you know, what's useful about this compared to, say, you can go to Google, but this is here as you read your text. The dictionary is just next to your page, and that's quite helpful, I think. So the next thing, and again, you can turn it on and off. The next thing I'm going to show you is this picture dictionary. And you might think, well, we're in higher education. Do we really need it? But whenever you have, is it homonyms? Is that right, Tristan? Where it sounds the same? Well, antonyms, one of those. Maybe I should type the word and see what the meaning is. But if
Homophone.
sorry?
Homophone.
Homophone.
Well, it sounds the same. It's a homophone.
It sounds the same. There you go. So the word here and here, if you're not sure which one to type, selecting one of them clearly shows me an ear with sound. I'm like, oh, right. Okay, that's a listening word. And the here, it's a pointing thing. So it can help me to decide which spelling I need. And here's another good sentence. They're not going to take their tent over there, are they? So there's like 3 words that sound the same. So there is again a pointing word. There, this one is kind of an ownership related thing, plural, it's trying to indicate. And then for this, they're not very good at interpreting a word that's been, what's the term, Tristan, where they've got the apostrophe?
Contraction.
There you go. Tristan's the master of all the language part of it. So it can be helpful if you're kind of wanting confirmation with pictures to see what the word meaning is. So I can just keep clicking on words and it will try and show me pictures, which is quite useful, isn't it? So I could try theoretical and see, can it manage? Oh, wow. It's even trying there to kind of say someone's reading something. It's not a practical thing. It's a theoretical thing. That's my interpretation. So I'm just going to give you again a minute or so to click on those things and try it on a Google Doc. See what you think to that. Okay. So hopefully that was okay for people. It's quite straightforward, I think, but you just have to get used to what those symbols look like if you need them, okay? So far we've covered the first few symbols, and we've got the play, pause, stop. We've done those. So the next items I'm going to show are the screenshot reader the audio maker, and there's a web search element to the toolbar. Have I got them all? Yeah. So I'm going to demonstrate the screenshot reader with a PDF that I've uploaded to Google Drive. So what I would say is that because you're using a Chrome toolbar, means you have to put things in the Google Drive to use with read and write. So I've added that into the chat. Because it's a Chrome extension, you have to use it with documents that are online, hopefully on your Google Drive, but also other things that you might be able to access on the internet, okay? So you can't open a PDF from your desktop or your laptop and expect the Chrome extension to work, because it'll be a conflict between a file on your computer and the toolbar, which is on the internet. So your file has to be on the internet, like Google Drive, before it will work. Okay, so here is an example of a document that's terrible. Your tutors should not be uploading documents like that to the VLE. If you spot these, make mention to your tutor. It's not the best way forward. So you notice in something like that, if I click and drag, I can't select the text. I can't read it very easily because it's a really bad copy as well. So what can I do for myself? Well, if I download it from the VLE, I can put it in my Google Drive, and then I can use Texthelp Read and Write. So every time I open something up in a different tab, I do have to press the read and write button again. And this screenshot reader will actually allow me to screenshot the text.
Tax authority to expand probe into HSBC accounts,
which is fabulous. This is really helpful on the odd occasion that you want to cite or quote from a journal article where you can't just copy and paste the text, right? But I've got that. I now can copy the text, which is just this button on the end. And I can then, I'm just going to put something right at the bottom. Oops. I can then just paste the text that I've copied. And I found this very useful for screen capture of text. There are better ways to do it than using the toolbar, but this is just useful when you need a little bit of text, okay? There are other ways to get this to be text that you can copy and paste, and I'll show you that in a minute. So carrying on with the toolbar. Oh, by the way, to do that screenshot, you may need an actual extension. Let me just grab it for you. So again, this is in your lesson plan already. The screenshot reader extension. I've just put it in the chat as well, just in case. When I give you a minute, you can try it out. Now, the other thing we can do is audio maker. So I'm going to go back to my normal document because it's a nice short one, so I can more easily make a audio file from it. So the symbol with the headphones, that's an audio maker. So if I select it, it will create the audio file. And once it's created the audio file, I can listen back to the whole document. I can go for a walk and listen to the document if I want. Okay, so that could be quite helpful if there are things like that that you need to do. I used to listen to a lot of my readings just so it went into my head the first time round. And then when I came back to the desk and I looked at the paper, it looked very familiar to me. So that's a nice strategy that you might want to adopt. And then the next thing here is the web search, which you might kind of think, well, I can always kind of copy a word and paste it into Google search. But with this, it means that you can highlight something and just press one button and it applies the search for you straight away. Yeah. So you're not, it saves a couple of clicks anyway. And it saves that. So I could do like theoretical frameworks. That's a nice word to kind of web search. Okay. And it gives you the actual definitions, etc. So that's quite good. So that's those 3 buttons, Screenshot Reader, Audio Maker, and Web Search. Again, I'm going to pause for a minute to give you time to either try out the Screenshot Reader or you can simply let me know in the chat if there's any questions. I'll pause for a minute. Okay, so if there are no questions, in terms of creating audio, you have options on the VLE as well. So I'm just going to a particular website as a student, and I'll demonstrate to you what you already have on the VLE itself. So just wait for that to come back up. Okay, so this is the tutor's website. And in the module, they have a few documents on here. So typically, your lecturers will either type text on the VLE or they'll include some files for you. Especially things like PDFs. Sometimes, you know, tutors upload something that they have that they've kept for a very long time and they want you to have it, so they upload it. They really should go to the library to get a good copy for you. But let's say a lecturer gives you something like this, which again, you can't copy and paste anything from it. If you want to make notes, it's a little bit it's a bit less flexible. And also if you want to read it on your phone, it's hard to read something like this. So you can use the alternative formats button. So yeah, you could download it and use Texthelp Read and Write. That could work. But actually built into the VLE, you could click on the alternative formats button and you can get an OCR PDF. So what OCR PDF, I'll type that in the chat. What that is a version of the document where you can copy and paste the text. So demonstrate to you. So on the original, I can't click and drag to get any of the text, right? But on the OCR version, I can. All right. I can actually, easily kind of copy things to make notes of if I need to kind of create quotes, etc. But this also means that you can do other things. So apart from the OCR PDF, I can download the audio file, or I can use Immersive Reader, which is a really nice tool if any of you have used Word. And it takes the PDF, grabs the text, and I can have it read out.
What is the right supply? By Marshall L. Fisher. Never has so much technology and brainpower been applied to improving supply chain performance.
This is fabulous, isn't it? You can change the voice settings, speed it up, change it to a male. And in terms of the text, again, you can change the text size. You can change the background color. to help you. Lots of different things that you can do. So this is really nice. It's also got a way to kind of focus on the lines, and it's got a picture dictionary turned on. So just like Texthelp Read and Write, you could hover on the word scanner and it'll show you a picture. Yeah. So this is very similar to what Read and Write is doing, and you can do it within Immersive Reader, which is a Microsoft tool. So that's really helpful for you to be aware that these tools you can sometimes get in more than one place. Okay. So that's pretty fabulous. So that's something I'll leave you to try out on your own, in your own time, which is Li. Okay, Blackboard Li. And in here, I think I do, look, you've got audio with Li and Immersive Reader. So the video already tells you about it. Okay. So I'll move on to the next thing, then I'll give you another minute. And the next thing is screen masking, talk and type, and translator. Okay, so that's the next bit of the toolbar. Along here, I've got the screen masking, talk and type, and the translator. So when I turn on screen masking, it kind of gives me like a letterbox, a ruler for reading on screen. I use this a lot. I find it quite hard to read a long line without a ruler on screen. And even books that I read, fiction books that I read, I tend to use a postcard as a bit of a ruler. It makes me more comfortable. So you can change the background colors, etc. If you come to the three dots on the top right and go to settings, there's lots of settings that you can change. I'm going to look at screen masking, and you can change your background color to something else. So I can change it to blue, for instance. And then when I turn it on, the background's now blue instead of black. So whatever works for you, experiment with it. I do prefer it with black, actually. I'm going to switch it back before I forget, because that's my preferred way of focusing. And you notice this was the same feature in Immersive Reader, right? You could just have a letterbox to help you with reading. So apart from the screen masking, you've got talk and type. This is fabulous. So this question, how might you benefit from a year abroad? Add your text or audio reply. So let me go get my cursor in here ready. And then this icon, I feel, let me just zoom in for you to see. I sometimes think the talk and type icon is very similar to this other one with a headset. So what you want to do is look out for the microphone attachment, right? So that's your talk and type. Okay. So if I click on that, it just basically triggers Google's own type and talk feature. And I'll show you where to get that on Google Docs itself, full stop. It's very good at voice dictation, full stop. So if typing and trying to get a sentence right is a blocker for my ideas or for getting the ideas down, I can simply just speak and get my ideas down as quickly as possible, full stop. It's amazing, right? Should have pressed stop before I went. That's amazing. So this feature is actually also in any Google document. You just go to Tools and you can do voice typing, Control-Shift-S. So on the keyboard, you can do. So, you know, it's already there built in for you. So for some of us, this may be a really good tool. If you're finding that, I find that when I type, I keep going back and correcting my sentence. But if I'm thinking, looking away, thinking, and just speaking out loud, I can just get the ideas down on paper, and then I can edit it afterwards, and it helps me. Okay. So that is the talk and type. And then you've got this translate. Now, the translate allows you to just translate something from one language to another. You can set your translation language. So in this case, I have it set to
基本上触发
okay, set to Mandarin, but I can change it under settings, language. I could change it to, oh no, I think you have to do it in speech. The translation, I could have it in, I do like French. I do like the sound of French. But I could do like Spanish. Maybe if you're learning Spanish, if someone is learning Spanish, Espanol, save. So now I can press the translate and go. Oops, maybe I do have to maybe I do have to kind of turn it on, off and on again. Let me see if that works. Let's do translation. No, I'm still in Mandarin. I might have to refresh my browser to get it to
Basically triggers.
do it in Spanish, but you get the idea. You change it and then you get it to read it in your language if you need it to. Okay. So again, I'm going to give you a minute to kind of try those features out. A minute isn't very long, is it? But hopefully it's allowed you to either make some notes or just absorb what I've just said. So the next bit of the toolbar that I'm going to demonstrate is these highlighters. They're magic. Well, they're not magic, but they kind of are. They're very, very helpful. So again, I'll just use this document to demonstrate. So this highlighter, you've got 4 that you can use for different purposes. So for instance, you might want to use the yellow one to, oops, I've accidentally highlighted that. I can use the sweeping brush to remove the highlight. So I can select that and clear the highlight there. But I can use the yellow to basically indicate, for instance, arguments for something. And I can use the green to indicate arguments against something and then collect them up. Another thing I can do, I've just got a little exercise here that says highlight all the nouns in the paragraph below. So I could have York and then student, opportunity. Okay, so these are all kind of, I guess, experience is a noun, isn't it? And then what I can do, and I can let's say do verbs in a green. Okay, so we aim. Oh, I don't know if aim is, yeah, provide, gain. These are all kind of verbs. And then what you can do is you can collect. So if you use the collect highlights, you can choose to either collect it by color or position in the document, what colors to collect. And if I click OK, it will create me these documents in my Google Drive. So I do have to give it permission to do that. And then it will create for me this amazing document. Is it doing it? Might just have to press it again. Oh yeah, it's doing it. Look, it's collected the highlights by color. I could have collected it by position. I mean, this isn't very useful, is it? But if it was arguments, right, for and against, it would be really, really helpful to see it all like that, collect it into a document, which could help your writing, okay? And it always links back to the document that you collected the highlights from. It's really, really helpful in that sense. So that's something that people might find really helpful. I'm just going to select the brush and kind of, I think, can I select all that text and click the brush? Yeah, and that removes all the highlights if that's what I want to do. Okay. I can also do these highlights with, okay. I can also do that highlighting because that was a Google Doc, which might not be very useful. I'm now going to demonstrate the same thing on a PDF. So I downloaded this PDF from the VLE. I uploaded it into my Google Drive. And now I can turn on Read and Write. And I could highlight my topic sentences. This is almost like a way to give myself a quick summary. Is it gonna work? Highlight yellow. Oh, I know. I can't do it directly in here. I've got to do it in another thing, which is called, when it's a PDF that I've uploaded, I have to open it in another piece of software with the same toolbar called Orbit Note. So let me get you the Orbit Note. So on your lesson plan document, Orbit Note and annotation, you've got the little videos there, and it's got the web page and how to install Orbit Note. The same way, it's a Chrome extension. But the same PDF opens up in this way, and I can use the highlighters. Notice a lot of the toolbar features are very similar. So I can use my highlighter and I can just select the topic sentences. That's a very long sentence. There are a number of important, and again, if I collect them up, again, choosing by position, by color, I can grab a document which almost like summarizes or focuses on the topic sentences, which again, if I want a collection of topic sentences to help me design my topic sentences, this could be a really helpful document and a link back to the document where I got it from. Fabulous. All right. So again, I can kind of select them all and remove highlights. So pretty cool. Okay, so having covered that, I'm just going to give you guys a minute to absorb that. Yep, hopefully the highlighters on Google Docs will give you a good demo. You do need to install Orbit Note for it to work on PDFs as well. Okay. Okay, next up, if there's no questions, I'm just going to finish off and then we can, have a little chat. Vocabulary, simplify page. you wouldn't likely do practice reading aloud at higher education level, but some of the other toolbar things that we mentioned are over here. Actually, vocabulary list is really quite helpful. I'm going to demonstrate the same feature in a PDF. Okay, so there's the vocabulary list icon. Looks like a list. So if there are words that I'm like, I can highlight these words, discourse, maybe I look up the meaning of that. I can use a dictionary to find what the word discourse means. And then, you know, the word linguist, I'm kind of like, oh, I might want to use these words in my writing, but I want to have confidence what it means, etc. And so I might want to create a vocabulary list of all the kind of discipline-based words. And I want to kind of practice these discipline words in English as well. So if I select, having highlighted these words, if I select vocabulary list, it creates for me another Google document. Come on, it will work. I tried this earlier. I think it's just thinking. I might have to click on it again. Click on it again. I'm sure it'll work the second time around. No. Oh, come on, live demo. It worked earlier. So what happened earlier? I wonder if it's still got the, let me see if it's made it in here. I wonder if it's given me a copy. No, it's not kept it. Yeah, well, trust me, maybe it'll work for you. But you can, let's just try highlighting on a Google Doc, international experience, and then do a vocabulary list. See, that works. Then it makes the document. And it doesn't just make the document, it tries to, it's better if you use single words, I guess, but it tries to kind of create the list and symbols. Let's see if it's going to struggle. It's going to struggle because I've picked 2 words at once. Let me try again very quickly with, let me just remove those. So let's just go with something simpler for demonstration, just 1 word at a time. Program. Vocabulary list. Okay. I'm just quite impressed with this feature and I just wish it would work consistently. There you go. So it captures the dictionary meaning there for you, and then it tries to create a symbol and then gives you space for notes around those words, which I think is absolutely fabulous. So yeah, hopefully you'll find that helpful. Let me see, what else do I want to show you? Okay, so within Orbit Note itself, you've got other features for annotating a PDF, which includes, for instance, typing some extra text into an area. So I would normally put my highlights in red, my own text in red, so I can see it's my own text. And you can actually voice dictate your notes in there. So I'm just going to try that. Remember to add this to my paper pile. There you go. The text appeared. I could, you know, make the text bigger if I need to. And I can move it around wherever I need to as well. So that can be quite helpful. If you want to just add a comment, you can. You can still voice dictate you can use predictive text. You can add a picture to help, or look up words for meaning, and you can attach things to help you remember the context of some of this as you've worked through it. So it's quite powerful, Orbit Note and Texthelp together. So Orbit Note is useful for the PDFs, definitely. Now you can just use Texthelp Read and Write on other websites as well. So you can kind of trigger it when you're on a web page, and you can get it to read text on a web page out to you. So, you know, that's something you might want to try. I'm not sure that you can just highlight a web page. Oh, you can. So again, just on a web page, you can highlight and create other notes for yourself that way. Okay, so that's quite cool. But one other thing that I think is worth demonstrating is that you can just use Microsoft Edge as a tool as well, a reading tool, because bear in mind, Microsoft always has immersive reader built in. So if I have a PDF, I can drag it into the browser. And remember, this is the OCR PDF that we downloaded before. And we can get it to read aloud. I think.
What is the right supply?
There you go.
Chain for your product. A simple framework can help you figure out the answer.
So that's pretty impressive. And apart from that, obviously, you can also annotate and leave yourself any clues that you want. And then you can kind of resave this PDF. So you've got a copy of it with your annotations, and, you know, you can kind of just access it again at a time to suit you. Sometimes when you go to a website and you use Edge, you can then simplify it as well. So, you know, that's got some useful features for you. Okay. So I think that's more or less it from me. I just have, I think, kind of, you know, highlighting the fact that at the edge of the toolbar, there are 3 dots, and there are lots of options for you to check to help you use the toolbar. Oops, sorry, that's my screen shader coming in again. Disable. And then I just have a little, these are some of the features. You can turn features on and off. Things that you use a lot, you can have it on. Things that you don't use, you could turn it off. So your toolbar is simpler. That's helpful, I think. So yeah, here's a little quiz which you can type in the chat quickly. Which toolbar would you use for highlighting? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Is anyone going to type in the chat for me? Thank you, Tristan, my best student. Thank you, German. You're my best student too. You're all my best students. Thank you. Okay, that makes it a bit more obvious. But which toolbar would you use to play text as audio? So you're just playing back text as audio. You're going to download the text so you can listen to it. Very good, Tonka. Yes, in German. Thank you. Very, very good. You're discerning the difference between the icons now. Which toolbar has the screen masking tool? Thank you, Tristan. First to the post. And then, so that will be the screen masking tool. It's like a bar. And finally, which toolbar has the dictionary? Very good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I think you can now tell those icons apart. Spending an hour immersing has been helpful. I remember the first time I looked at it, I found it quite hard to remember, but I feel quite familiar with them now. There are some other little features you might want to try out. Some of them are new, I've noticed recently. But if you're familiar with most of them, then the occasional other feature is something that hopefully you can experiment with on your own as well. Okay. So that's it from me. I'm going to stop the recording here and we can have a little chat.